The properties of S matrix. As the Z matrix and the Y matrices, what I have discussed in my earlier lectures, they have a few limitations. So that is why we need to consider a different one, the S matrix. So in this lecture, I am going to discuss that one along with the limitations of Z and Y matrix. Next will be introduction of the S matrix or the scattering matrix, and along with the property of the scattering matrix. So three properties, the main three properties will be discussed. That is the reciprocal network, means what will be the S matrix for reciprocal network, what will be for the lossless network, and what if the reference plane gets shifted. So what will be the S matrix? So that will be discussed in this lecture. The Z matrix, what we have defined earlier in my lecture, and the Y matrix also, the main assumption was there that when we are going to find out a particular element in Z matrix by providing the excitation on a particular port while we are examining uh, one port, all other port we have to keep open. And similarly, when we are going to find out a particular element in Y matrix while we are providing the excitation in one port and examining for one another particular port, we have to keep all other port shorted. But this assumption holds good for a low frequency signal, generally ranging from 1 kilohertz to megahertz range, because for the low frequency signal wavelength is much more longer and the dimension of the circuit is much smaller compared with the wavelength. But in high frequency signal where the wavelength gets compared with the dimension of the device, such kind of assumption doesn't hold, because we know from the theory of transmission line that whether it is short circuit or it is open circuit, the reflection appears for both the cases. And since the reflection appears, the reflected wave interfere with the actually excitation waves. So that is why the measurement may not appear perfect. Therefore, a different matrix we generally consider for measuring the microwave signals. So that is the S matrix, because in S matrix uh, we consider the voltage waveform either in transmitting and the reflecting, both type of waveform we generally consider. So as in S matrix the voltages are in the form of wave in propagating along the forward direction or reflected back along the backward direction. So a matched load we can replace we can put when we are going to find out a particular um, element in S matrix when we are providing the excitation on one port in one port and we are examining the output from other port, we can put a matched load to all other ports. So by connecting or by terminating the all other port with a matched load, we can make the reflection zero. And S matrix is much more useful than the Z matrix and Y matrix because of their limitations in microwave frequencies. And that is why we are going to investigate the S matrix in this lecture. The S matrix is defined as shown over here. The V minus, this represents the reflected voltage wave, whereas this V plus, this represents the incident voltage wave. And the corresponding coupling coefficients are actually the S matrix, elements of the S matrix. And this V1, V2 up to Vn, this represents the reflected and incident voltage wave at port 1, 2, 3 up to N. And here these T1, T2, T3, these are the reference plane. From the definition of the S matrix, each element as denoted here, Sij, which represents the elements of the S matrix. So each element of the S matrix can be expressed as shown over here. That means Sij represents the ratio of the reflected voltage wave from ith port to the incident voltage wave at the jth port, while keeping the all other ports terminated with their corresponding matched load so that no voltages can be uh, reflected from each port, and so the in any incident voltage at all other ports other than these two ports what we are considering, so any incident voltage at these two ports must be zero. Let's take an example for the two-port network. The S matrix for this two-port network is as shown over here. So the S matrix contains uh, four elements: S11, 12, 21, and 22. Now, if I write the expression for V1, the reflected wave in port 1 and port 2, so the reflected wave in port 1 and port 2 depend upon the incident wave on port 1 and port 2 as shown in this expression, and each element is represented as I have shown in my last slide, as shown also been represented in this slide also. Now, from this definition of this element and the S matrix, we can easily find what is the S11 or what is the physical significance of this S11. S11, from this expression we can easily find that it is nothing but the ratio of reflected wave from port 1 to the incident wave at port 1, while you are keeping the incident wave at port 2 is equals to 0, which means this S11 basically represents the reflections when the wave incidence from at port 1 as well as it is being reflected back from port 1. So this is basically represents reflections. S12 you can see from here, S12 you can find by the reflected wave from port 1, while the wave incidence at port 2, and no reflection is taking place from port 1 because the no incidence wave is taking place at port 1. So due to the excitation at port 2, the wave voltage wave that is getting out from this port 1, so that is this V1 minus, and when you are taking this ratio by maintaining that condition that no voltage wave is incident at port 1, then you are actually getting this S12. S21 is just opposite of this S12. That means when you are exciting port 1 with this V1 plus voltage wave and you are measuring the output voltage from port 2, so and you are taking the ratio, and by considering that no voltage wave is incident at port 2, so that ratio will give you this S21. And S22 is similar to the S11, but the excitation and the observation ports are the port 2, both are the port 2. Whereas in case of S11, both the excitation and the observation ports were port 1. So in this case, S22 actually represents the uh, reflection when you are exciting port 2 and you are measuring the reflected wave from port 2. Let's take a practical example where we need to find out the S parameters for this network given over here. And the condition is that the port 2 gets terminated at a load of 50 ohm. Now first I'm going to find out this S11. As the S11, basically we know that this is the reflection coefficient for port 1, and that reflection coefficient is the ratio of the reflected wave divided by the incident wave, and the reflection coefficient has another form, and that form takes or includes the input impedance when you are looking from this port 1 and the impedance for this port 2. So the impedance for this port 2 is Z0, and that is the 50 ohm I'm using over here, and Z in is the equivalent impedance when you are looking from this terminal, and that means is 8.56 plus the parallel uh, combination of this 141.8 along with the series combination of 8.56 and 50. So the input impedance when you calculate, so that is also appearing as 50 ohm, and plugging this value into this expression, the reflection coefficient I'm getting, that is 0. So S11 we have 0, and since it is the reflection coefficient we are having 0, so no reflection is taking place when the port 2 is terminated with 50 ohm. So 50 ohm is basically the matched load for the port 2. And from here you can see the network is symmetric. That means when you are looking from this terminal and this terminal, so both are same. So S21 must be is equals to S12. Therefore, either we can find out this S21 or S2. Here I am going to find out this S21. So which is the ratio of the reflected wave from port 2 divided by the incident wave at port 1, and that wave from port 2 I have denoted over as this V2, and the excited wave which incidents at port 1 I have denoted by this V1 instead of this V1 plus and V2 minus, because there exists no any other voltage. Now by defining a new voltage at this terminal, which is V dash, this ratio V2 divided by V1 can be represented as shown over here. And now it is a simple voltage divider rule by which we can easily find out this S21, and we are obtaining that thing, that S21 is equals to 0.707. Let's discuss about a few properties of the S matrix. The first one is the reciprocal network, and we have seen in my last lecture or earlier lecture for Z matrix and Y matrix that the for reciprocal networks, thus both the Z and Y matrix are equals to their transpose matrix. So let's see what properties the S matrix should have for the reciprocal network. Now for each port, so for an n port network, for each port the total voltage can be defined as the summation of the incident voltage and the reflected voltage. Similarly, the total current can be represented as the summation of the incident current and the reflected current. And this current, when I'm replacing in terms of their corresponding voltage, so I'm dividing those voltage by the characteristic impedance of that port, because this n represents the nth port. So for each port these voltages are defined associated with those particular port. This current and voltages are defined. So these Z0, there exists no n, so that is why I am assuming that the characteristic impedance for all ports are identical. This is for the sake of simplicity. Now from these two equations I can find the incident wave as shown over here and the reflected wave as shown in this expression. And omitting this n, I am writing in terms of this matrix. So the V plus represents the incident matrix, and from this expression I am writing the total voltage V as the in terms of the Z matrix times the I matrix. Now from this expression we can take this I matrix common, leaving this U matrix in this expression, and this U is basically representing as the unitary matrix or the identity matrix, which has all principal diagonal elements is equals to 1 and all other elements is equals to 0. Similar expression we can obtain for the reflected wave, and from these two expression if we eliminate this I, so this reflected wave is taking this form as shown in this expression, and we know from the definition of S matrix, when the reflected wave gets related with the incident wave, so this expression is going to represent the S matrix. So this is the general form of the S matrix in terms of the Z matrix. So now this is the expression what I have obtained. If I transpose these S matrix, I am obtaining this one. But since U is the unitary matrix, the transpose of U is equals to the unitary matrix itself. And since we know from that Z matrix for the reciprocal network is equals to its own transpose, so these are also will be equals. Therefore, the transpose of the Z matrix from following these steps is becoming equals to the S matrix itself. So for the reciprocal network, the transpose of the S matrix becomes equals to the S matrix itself. Next, the lossless network. In the case of lossless network, we know that no real power is delivered to the network. The entire power gets delivered to the load. So to ensure that no real power is delivered to the network, I am making this real power, or I am equating this real power with the zero. Now this real power is expressed as the transpose of V, this voltage, times this conjugate of I. This transpose of V or this voltage matrix and the current matrix I have replaced from my earlier slide, where this current matrix I have replaced by this corresponding voltage by assuming the characteristic impedance, the corresponding characteristic impedance is 1. Although you may not have to always assume this characteristic impedance is equals to 1, I am assuming it is for the sake of simplicity. Now I am multiplying these things, and finally, since this term is equals to 0, we are having these two terms is equals to 0. Look at here, these intermediate terms, that means this V plus transpose times this V minus conjugate plus V minus transpose times this V plus conjugate. These two factors actually looks like in the form of A minus A conjugate. So if it is a complex quantity, since these V are the complex quantities, so this A minus conjugate of A are purely imaginary. And since we are interested in real power, so this imaginary term will be absent in the final expression. And equating this final expression, we are having this one, and from this expression we can write this one. Now this V minus term which exists on the right hand side of this equal sign, I am replacing this by their corresponding S matrix. Uh, I mean the relation between the this V minus terms, that means the reflected voltage wave associated with this incident voltage wave, and this relation actually includes this S matrix. So I am replacing that equation, and finally I am obtaining that the transpose of this S times the conjugate of S is equals to the unitary matrix, or the conjugate of this S matrix is equals to the inverse of the transpose of S matrix, and this relation holds for the lossless network. So when the network is reciprocal, then its transpose of S matrix was equals to the S matrix itself, but when the network is lossless, the transpose of the S matrix times the conjugate of the S matrix is basically the identity matrix. This expression that I have obtained in my last slide can be simplified into this expression, which states that the elements of S matrix, when gets multiplied with the conjugate of its own, then only the output becomes 1. Otherwise, when the multiplication takes place with the other elements, the output goes to 0, or the product results 0, which signifies that when you are exciting the ith port and you are measuring the or you are observing the all other port, the power which gets delivered with all other ports, that is the kth port where k varies from 1 to n. So this product ski times ski conjugate, actually this product gives you the power when you are exciting the ith port and you are observing the kth port. So all such kth port we are observing starting from k equals to 1 to n, but when you are exciting the uh, ith port, then the summation will produce the 1, because the power which gets delivered into the all other ports due to the excitation at the ith port will be equals to the 1, because the power is will be distributed to all other ports. But when you are exciting the ith port and you are observing the kth port, along with that you are exciting the jth port and you are observing the kth port, so that power is not solely due to the either of the ith port excitation or the jth port excitation. So that is why this product, the power of this uh, cross coupling product is going to be 0. So only this product will be equals to 1, and this equation is very significant one we will use later in my later lectures. And finally, if I take the conjugate over these two sides, so since the not conjugate, the transpose of these two sides, so the transpose of the S transpose becomes the S, and remaining this S conjugate becomes the transpose of the S conjugate, and this unitary matrix, we know the transpose of the unitary matrix is itself the unitary matrix, so therefore it remains like this. So this is another equation we can use. Next one is the shift in reference plane. In general, The scattering matrix relates the amplitude. Amplitude means both the magnitude part and the phase part of the forward and the reflected wave. Therefore, the reference plane plays a vital role, because based on the reference plane, the an electromagnetic wave propagates from a particular reference plane to a particular direction, either in the backward direction or in the forward direction, it acquires some phase. So when you are going to change the reference plane, which was initially set uh, for the previous calculations or previous observations, so for the present observation, you have to take into account the change in reference plane by considering the change in phase. Let's see. So initial reference plane, for as shown over here, the initial reference plane I am considering, that is the each port, the reference plane of the each port were at 0. So Zn was 0. So and the corresponding S matrix was related with this reflected wave and the incident wave as shown over here. Now I have changed this reference plane from z equals to 0 to zn equals to ln. So that means each ports I have changed in different length, with different length. So that different length is denoted by this ln. So different reference plane I am actually choosing for different ports. The corresponding S matrix is right now gets defined in a different way, and that relates this dashed relation, actually is relating the reflected voltage wave and with the incident voltage wave, and this relation actually holds for this new S matrix, which is going to take into account the shift in reference plane. So this is the initial equation with the initial reference plane, and this is the new equation with the new reference plane, or for the new reference plane. Now we know the incident voltage wave at the new reference plane must acquire some phase theta n when you are comparing with the previous reference plane. Similarly, the reflected voltage wave from the new reference plane must acquire the same phase but opposite in direction when you are comparing with the previous reference plane, or the voltage wave at the previous reference plane. And the theta n basically is related with the propagation constant for associated with the each port, along with the length by which you have shifted the reference plane. So the product theta n basically is the product of the propagation constant time the change in length. Now at this equation, multiplying this e to the power plus j theta n on both sides and finally writing in the matrix form, I am getting this expression. And on the right hand side, this V minus can be written in terms of the S matrix. That means that I have followed this expression where this S times this V plus I have written over here, but this V plus I am writing from this expression where I am multiplying on the both sides by e to the power minus j theta n, and finally I am writing V plus over here in terms of the matrix form. So this V minus in the dash, there is a new reference plane, and this V plus incident wave at the new reference plane is right now related through this expression, because I am obtaining this expression by inverting this matrix on this side. So therefore, finally, the new S matrix is defined as this phase matrix times the original S matrix. This original S matrix means this S matrix associated with the original reference plane times the another phase matrix. So from this expression, each element of the new S matrix can be written or can be related with the original S matrix as shown in this expression, and this expression includes this twice theta n term, which signifies that when a wave starts traveling from the new S matrix or the new reference plane, it must acquire this twice phase when it gets reflected back from the original plane and it reaches the new reference plane. So it must acquire the twice phase. So that is why this 2 theta n term is associating with the original S matrix and resulting the new S matrix.